chopper?
Leon, you just asked a minute ago, and it's still on its way.
Please hurry, I don't know how much more of this I can take.
What's wrong?
Code Brown? Ashley won't stop complaining about the smell, even though she's the one always hiding out in the dumpsters that nobody's emptied in decades.
What smell, Leon?
Well, so there was the shotgun just laying there and all, but the second I touched it, this burlap sack-wearing dude with a chainsaw comes running at me.
What smell, Leon?
I crapped my pants, okay? Oh god, what now?
Chopper just got shot down.
Leon! No!
Oh boy, it's spooky time! May all your wieners be hollow.
What?
Like Halloween! Happy Halloweener!
We're talking about Resident Evil 4.
And I'm trying to come up with a festive greeting, Mr. Oogie Boogie.
Whatever. Today we're talking about a 2005 GameCube game that genuinely scared the crap out of little 13-year-old me.
Oh boy, my wiener was definitely hollow.
What does that even mean?
I don't know, I just wanted to catch on!
So what's the big deal about Resident Evil 4? Well, a lot, honestly.
Resident Evil is a campy horror game where you shoot zombies and eat plants.
You're not wrong. But the big thing that set apart 4 from the first 3 was abandoning the horrendous fixed cameras and tank controls in favor of an over-the-shoulder third-person perspective. This lets us have a better control and understanding of where we are in space, preventing many unfair deaths, aside from putting us right in the face of all the spooky haunted house scares. Immersion. Yeah, that's what I said. Anyway, there's also a traveling merchant allowing you to somewhat customize Leon's loadout by selling trinkets and items you don't need in favor of upgrading and stocking up on what you do. Now, if you're playing the 2005 original like we did, you'll also get the occasional QuickTime events where you'll have to press or mash the on-screen buttons whenever the cutscenes demand it, which is all the freaking time. I was unfamiliar with the button arrangement of the PS2 port at the time, so fighting Krauser in particular was indescribably unfun. Yeah, it felt better on the GameCube and Wii, but those QTEs still suck. Luckily, the 2023 remake completely flushed those down the crapper and instead added a dynamic parry system, which adds far more what's the word? Immersion! Right, so RE4 also ousted the old increment saving thing, so you can now save as often as you want, and added a new inventory management minigame allowing you to obsessively organize all your crap. This oddly becomes one of the most satisfying parts of the entire game. The game's still filled with absurd escape room puzzles and monstrous abominations, but this time we've also got a companion character to babysit. Ashley. So you'll have to protect Ashley occasionally along the journey, commanding her to hide or follow you to survive. In the original, Ashley was basically a liability health bar, but in the remake she's got better AI, and if she ever gets caught, she's only incapacitated instead of handing out game overs. Now she feels like an actual person, which makes the game much more... it just feels more realistic, you know? For a GameCube game, this title looks phenomenal, and honestly still holds up. Fortunately, the remake is just as goofy. Prepare for Leon to backflip out of the way of chainsaws coming through the walls, instead of simply stepping backwards, because that's how you resident your evil. Personally, I don't really see the need for a remake at all, but hey, now we can watch each individual hair on Leon's head flow in the breeze and get soaked in the rain. Wait, it doesn't do that? Looks like we need another remake. So the president's daughter, Ashley, has gone missing, and Leon Kennedy from RE2 is sent to Spain to investigate her last known whereabouts. Yeah, the Prez chose to send the one razzled cop of camp to make it out of Raccoon City alive, instead of a battalion of Secret Service members. Some dad. So Ashley was kidnapped by a group of Illuminati cultists afflicted with parasites called Las Plagas. Yeah, this time it's not actually zombies, but instead mind-controlling tentacle blade monsters. Yes, it's a horror game with tons of creepy situations and set pieces, but it's also pretty hilarious. Leon is even more comically unfazed than his last outing, and I can happily report that the remake is just as humorously cheesy as the original. The original script has also been toned down to be a little less misogynistic in the remake, and though it cuts some of the silly lines, they were definitely in poor taste. Oddly enough though, the original Japanese script wasn't as silly. Instead of saying boss, in English they say big cheese. And instead of did you forget something, it's did you forget your makeup or something? It ain't all great though. For one, this game adds a character it assumes you know already, even though he's new. I hate that kind of stuff. Yeah, and I guess the remake isn't perfect either. There's an important character named Luis who dies in the game, and the remake plays this out like a tragic death. But in the original, Leon dramatically yells out, "Louis! Louis!" Louise then dies of embarrassment. The remake also tones down some of the over-the-top hilarity, like the giant Mecha Salazar scene, and that makes me the big sad. It's also knockoff Metal Gear Solid. Excuse me? Let me put it like this. The government's top soldier is sent on a solo extraction mission where he procures his weapons on site and received updates over codec by a secret government agency that's not being completely honest with him. Huh. I'm not done. You get infected with a mysterious virus, you face an adversary from your past, the superhuman bad guys taunt you over your comm systems, you rescue a woman who eventually proves herself capable after plenty of on-rail shooting and grenade-flipping boss fights. You two escape together on a romantic jet ski into the credits at sunrise. Now that you mention it. Oh, and the game's loaded with totally unique lines like this.
If one's Lewis, who's the other? Huh. They're an intruder besides me?
Say he's using stealth, too.
Stealth? There's an intruder besides me?
And then there's this one where the pompous villain coyly references destroying your helicopter backup.
Don't tell me you've never swatted a bothersome fly.
I'm going to swat down a couple of bothersome flies.
Now that's just borderline plagiarism.
I don't ever remember being a part of your crappy script.
Well then, why don't you show me what a first-class script is like?
So yeah, the game's good because it's basically Metal Gear Solid. But it's campy knockoff Metal Gear Solid, where the characters are not nearly as interesting. This soundtrack's nothing to write home about, assuming you even still talk to your family in the first place, and I just got tangled up in my own analogy. There's no memorable melodies, but it's a horror game, and that's not the point. Instead, it's got great heart-pounding tracks for combat, intense atmospheric tracks for basically everything else. Even the stupid parts. Yes, no matter how campy it gets, Resident Evil takes itself more seriously than a nun in a bathing suit, or shoot, crap, now there we go again. Alright, so it may have copied Metal Gear's homework, but it's still a good game, especially if you giggle at mood-killing lines like this.
I've sent my right hand to dispose of you.
Your right hand comes off? Where's everyone going? Bingo?
If the scariest thing you can imagine being in a haunted house is a bunch of unruly Hispanics, do I have good news for you? And if you're not feeling the subtle racism against Spanish speakers, don't worry, the next game's about two whites who travel to Africa to gun down countless unarmed black people. Oh my god. Who thought this was okay? The positive gamer in me is a little afraid to admit I just give Resident Evil 4 a 6 out of 10. It's the good kind of bad, but in some ways it's just kind of bad. Honestly, it's not the kind of game I want to revisit more than once, but I definitely did enjoy this goofy, freaky game. The critical gamer in me appraises Resident Evil 4 with a 9 out of 10. It still is the definitive Resident Evil and one of the best in its genre. Sure, it's a campy mess of borderline plagiarism, but it's a fun ride nonetheless. But what do you think? Let us know how your positive and critical sides rate Resident Evil 4 in the comments below. Now, if you don't go play something scary and have yourself a happy Halloweener, yes! Then you're just playing with yourself. So yeah, this is completely Kim's getup. She's probably gonna be pretty upset that it smells really weird now, but anyway, I gotta tell you guys this story. So I could swear when I was writing the script for this episode that there was a segment in Resident Evil 4. Keep this in mind, I haven't played this game in a long time, okay? So I'm thinking like, I could swear there was a bit where over your comm system, Leon got like messages from this staticky character who wouldn't show his face and called himself Deep Throat, just like Metal Gear Solid. I was like, this totally happened, right? I'm not just, imagining that this happened. So I mistakenly Google Resident Evil 4 Deep Throat, and I started getting like all these responses and things popping up like, what is that? I've never even heard of that website. Wait, Ashley? That's got nothing to do with, oh my god! I close it real fast. I was like, oh god. Don't Google that. Oh god, I'm an idiot. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Remember to like the videos and subscribe for more, and use the links in the description to nominate your own episode. And thank you to all of our Patreon members, Aspen, Arrow, Crystal, Sid, Genio, Laura, and Squad Fam. Happy Halloweener! See ya!